caramel macchiato with an extra shot and whipped cream, please.
Coming up.
Wait, hold on. How much is that?
$4.85.
Okay, better drop the extra shot. What does that make it?
$4.20.
Better make it a small. What does that make it?
$3.30.
Better drop the whipped cream. What does that make it?
Less calories.
Oh my God, and he flew all the way to New York to tell me that. That's so romantic.
It's beautiful, really.
You're not even allowed to leave the state.
What's that now?
It's the Al Travis Show, and we actually enjoying getting our next guest on when we can. She's hard to get a hold of. She is Senator Heather Gustafson. Senator, how are you? And your microphone is muted if you're with me right now.
I'm here.
How are you today?
Good. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Plans for the week or so off that you all get? Do you get time just to be with the family and get back to some kind of normal?
A little bit. I've been working every day this week so far, but in between there, I'm cleaning out closets to prepare for my kids coming home for summer. So yeah.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, I understand. Well, I'm glad. Have a great Easter, by the way, if I forget to say it later. Lot going on, and I had kind of a long conversation with Putnam about it today. Perception seems to be a very big force in the line of work you're in. Reality was one thing, but perception makes the rule. And we were chatting about what's going on with Senator Bobby Joe Champion, Attorney General Keith Ellison, and I know my side is going to be all mad at me. Show me some proof and we'll talk. Up till now, it's like, well, this could be a thing, and then if you do this, and if you did this behind, I don't want to go down that road. The problem I think you Democrats, because these two Democrats have right now, is that perception becomes something. The Republicans are going to run with this, right? I mean, how do we change it? I guess, how do you not get caught behind that? Not to be cruel, and I'm not asking anybody to do this. Heather, somebody's going to come up, they're going to get a case of the butt and say, I'm going to take Heather down, and they're going to, possibly she did the thing in third grade that she couldn't do, and all of a sudden you're just, how do we get it beyond this as a society?
I mean, accountability, which I think Senator Champion has done. He came out and removed himself or asked to be removed from the ethics until this was all over. So I thought that was the right thing to do. But I think both sides, I look at what's going on with discussing attack plans and Signal and Niska using his own law firm as part of the House's legal maneuverings. And I mean, I think we have to hold everybody accountable, right? It isn't one side or the other. It's just accountability across the board.
See, and that is it's like, and again, Bobby Joe, I've known him. I met him twice. He wouldn't know me from Adam. I don't believe. I met him twice on my show. I like him. Firm handshake, dresses nice, looks in the eye when you talk to him. I mean, he just came, okay, he's a Democrat, I'm a Republican. Okay, but I liked him.
Yeah.
That doesn't change because of this, because I haven't found anything out. What I wished for him, you're on the ethics committee, you've been a senator for a long time, you're the president of the thing, is he probably should have known better. You guys had all three sides of the chair or whatever. He could get past whatever he wanted to, wherever the reverend, right or wrong, I don't even know if that money was well spent. If he just raised his hand, by the way, I put that in that bill, I did some pro bono work for the guy, please vote for it, I think it's still a good idea, and you all do, no harm, no foul. That's what... It seems like too easy, it shouldn't have been a slip up, is I guess my point. And then we don't have this. The Ellison thing, that's a whole nother, I don't know how you people do it. You meet 1 million people a year. You don't know who's who. You don't know the bad guys until they're bad guys, and yet you're held about it. I mean, we've all seen there's a picture of this guy with somebody at the state fair in 1992. They must be friends, and you were standing at a booth. I don't fall for it. So what do we got to do? And I want to get to your inspector general because I think that will help a ton.
Yeah.
But I don't blame my friends saying, I'm sorry, Heather, everyone up there's on the take. Just look at it. Everyone's on. It's like, no, but that's the perception, and perception becomes reality, correct?
Yeah. I mean, I would say that like 90% of the people that you're looking at who come on your show and who do stuff, I mean, we're just normal people. Really. I would question your judgment to come on this show. But other than that, you're out there cleaning your closets up because your kids are coming home. That's exactly right. I mean, a lot of us are just going to work, coming home, spending time with our family. There's nothing going on. And then I would say too, like those of us who I'm not referring to, we do sign up for this job, and you are under a microscope, and it is very, it is hard sometimes. I'm not asking for sympathy. That's not what I'm doing here, but I'm just trying to imagine you make a mistake at work and you're embarrassed by the 10 coworkers you have, or imagine you make a mistake at work and the Star Tribune has a headline about it the next day. I mean, it is a lot. You're right. We need to hold people accountable. And there's also are you actually in legal trouble, or are you in
political
public relations trouble? Like, those are two different things as well.
But I think that's what getting a lot of us out here. And again, nothing I've seen sounds to me like anyone's going to jail. That's not what I'm asking, but it's that perception. It's a political problem. And when you look at it, well, it's 2-2 on the ethics committee. We can't decide about this gal, whether she should be off or not. Well, they're not going to do anything with this. Just wait. We get through the next 6 weeks and no one's going to think about it again. The rest of us, it's just like, it's a trust thing anymore. And that's why I like your inspector general. Let's get this. I hope. Yeah. Did you have anything to say about either one of those? I'm trying not to roast anybody here. I want us to if you find something bad, we'll talk about it. But until then, stop talking about it. Because right now it's just, well, he was at a meeting with a guy. Well, he must meet with people 25 times a day.
Right. And he knows his community so well, and they just love him. So I don't know. I think he's made plenty of statements. I'll let him speak for himself. But I just,
fair enough. Okay. Yeah. IG thing. This is what I want to go with, because did your inspector general under one roof, do you have a name for it? Call it the Al's rule, will you? Because I haven't got a bill named after me yet. Whatever this, you want an inspector general, a single inspector general's office with nobody on top of the inspector general. I love this idea. We've been talking about this idea. Did it get past the third and final stage? Is it out there? Is this something oh no, you're not smiling.
Oh, no. It's just, it has a lot of committees. That's not a bad look. It's just, it has a lot of committee stops. We are on our final committee stop next week. It'll be in finance.
Didn't it have to get done last Friday? I'm sorry for I thought that was like the final deadline day.
Yeah, no. So tax committee, finance committee, and rules committee, I believe, don't have deadlines until the end of session. For bills like this that have to go through.
So where are we on it? It makes too much sense to have everybody in the House and Senate vote for it. We just don't like common sense stuff. I love this bill. Where are you sitting? Do you think it goes? Don't smile. You know what I'm talking about. We'll pass some crazy stuff, and then when we get something good, it's like, I don't know. This sounds too good to me. Is it going to pass?
I think it's I think it's in good shape. I think it will pass out of finance. I think the next step will be the floor, and then it'll just be a lot of pressure to make sure it gets to the floor. So I agree with you. I think that politicians are going to argue about this or that or whatever, but I think Minnesotans want this. They want another level of accountability. They want something that's an independent oversight authority that has the ability to look at any public or private entity that takes tax dollars and make sure that they're spent the way they should be.
I love that. I absolutely do. Do you ever think, just between you and I, do you ever think that if you get this across the line, how fundamentally Heather Gustafson is going to change the landscape? I mean, you could possibly be that one change agent. I presume that's why you people get into your jobs. Is there something I can do to really make this is a wholesale change? This is no longer Department of Human Services. Inspector General talks to his boss and says, this is completely independent. And do you know how big that could be? And do you think about it?
I mean, I do. It's a lot of, you're establishing an office that, you're right, I think addresses a very clear need that we are all expecting. I will say this too, just quickly about the biggest thing that we're waiting on is the fiscal note, and people are concerned with budget. But I always think as precious dollars are being spent this year and we're making those decisions, isn't it nice to think we would have some insurance on making sure those tax dollars aren't lit on fire? So I'm with you. Yes, I do think about that, because I think that there are lots of things that inspector generals can do in our state that we've been asking for a while. And I want to bring it back to something that I think you and your audience might like. But sometimes we see a problem, and because we don't have something like an inspector general, our first thought is to create legislation around it, because it's all we feel like we can do to help. And not every problem has a legislative solution. So sometimes it'd be nice if we could have something like an officer of inspector general, so an office of inspector general, so they can go in and they can maybe determine and fill that gap that is clearly missing in all of the good governance and safeguards that we put in to prevent fraud. And now, maybe it isn't going to be a bill on a very specific issue that we've got to try to get passed to prevent the problem from happening again, when maybe we just prevent the problem.
I love this. I there's an example on a lot of people. My wife didn't know this. I said yesterday. So 2 years ago, we got rid of this bill that got rid of cadmium and lead. Of course, we don't want kids having cadmium and lead, and I don't want them being choking on it either. But no one thought about if we got rid of that. Isn't that wonderful? You can't make keys. I'm an old man with old cars. And my key guy's like, I'm doing this illegally. You know that? I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, they can't do it anymore. Now we're getting this bill to get it fixed, but that's where you make the rule first and try to fix it later. We can't have that. We got to take our time. I got to go to break. Yeah. I want to talk to you about ghost kids. I think you were actually talking about a story about ghost kids. It's not as scary as it seems. Well, we got to talk. That's why I love having Heather on. Heather Gustafson, more right after this on the Al Travis Show.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
Chanhassen Dinner Theaters brings you its most popular show of all time, Grease. You'll hear all your favorite hits from the Broadway musical and the movie. Join the whole gang at Rydell High. We'll sing, we'll dance, we'll bring you back to high school life in the 50s. Poodle skirts, bobby socks, the soda shop, and drive-in movies. Grease! It'll rock your socks off. Order your tickets today. Visit chanhassendt.com.
Just a side note for you. Next week we pick up Rochester, and in 2 weeks we've got 2 more stations. We'll be at 10 the next time you're on the show.
Oh wow! Congratulations!
Things are going really well, and you're still being taped. And you know that. Appreciate you making time for it in the closet cleaning and all that. I appreciate it.
Amongst friends, the Al Travis Show. Nothing but talk.
We've got our center, Heather Gustafson. Love having her on the program. You are in the paper. This story didn't get enough press in my book.
Yeah.
You're all talking about school finances, yada, yada, and the guy from Century College comes in and says, in 2023, 15% of the people taking classes were ghost students, a term I'd never heard before. But basically, they're just trolls in mother's basement signing up for massive classes all around the country that say it's, online. Mm-hmm. They fill out the FAFSA, get the money sent to the school. They drop out after the check's cashed, keep the money. School's got to give back the money they got from the Fed government. and it's just a cash cow. These kids are brilliant. They should be used for something positive, but we've got to make this harder. What are you going to do? You had a bill on this, right? How are we going to fix this?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is a really good example of fraud that is not at the fault of the agency or the institution that's happening to. They're trying to stop it too, but they're trying to wrap their arms around it. So yes, what happens is these teachers think that they have a student, and Century is in my district, by the way, and so a lot of people I work with know, and they're in there and they see students and they're like, I feel like this isn't an actual student, but it's hard to prove, right? Because you don't know. They might just be a student who's struggling. And of course, this is their freshman year of college. So maybe they're just a little overwhelmed. So you don't want to assume the worst. You want to make sure that they're on their right feet. But then within 2 weeks, it's very clear that they're not a real student. They're gone. You're out the money. So the teachers are desperately trying to figure out, like, how can I determine this? But now they're asking for the state's help. So one of the things that we would do was have a pretty robust and diverse work group of different people and, who work in criminal fraud work, auditing, education, that kind of thing, to decide how can we combat this. I would imagine they'd be working with other states too. This is a problem everywhere in our country. So before everybody starts to jump on the Minnesota is bad story, like this is everywhere. Yeah. And so there, it is a problem, and we're trying to figure out some of the ideas that are out there are good ideas, but then you just have to see what are they going to look like in action. For instance, some schools are saying you have to have like one in-person meeting with the teacher to determine, like, hey, I'm a real human being. But that becomes timely and a little bit.
Okay. You're a young lady, Senator. You're a young lady. Back in my day, before computers, by the way, we had to go to school. You actually had to sit down. There was none of this. So I get the idea you can do fake learning. Here's the OWL rule: butts in seats. All this school has to do is put in the curriculum, once a week you must be in person. These kids are in their basement somewhere in Idaho trying to decide them, said, oh, crap, I can't take this one because I got to meet once a week. You go the first week, butts in seats. Somehow you meet the teacher. Sorry, it's going to be a lot of work. You pick the profession where you got to meet kids. And then after that, once you've weeded them out, half of them don't sign up because it sounds like every week the teacher can say, you know what, next week we'll just Zoom it. And then once you realize they're humans, guess what? I'm the teacher. You don't have to come back. You got to outthink the lazy guy who's in his basement. This butt in seats thing doesn't offend me. Put their butts in seats. Now, that sucks. I get it.
Yeah. There's flexibility options. When I got my master's degree, it was hybrid. So it was part online, but every Friday we met. And that worked out.
But how did you survive it, Heather? How? Good God, how did you survive it? But this is back to it. I'm going to perception and reality, bring this all back around. And by the way, get something past her, because that's just, I'm tired of my money walk. 15%, this guy knew that number. That's just crazy. But back to perception as being the reality. I think your governor stepped in it on his own, and he really stepped in it. If the governor wanted people to come back to work, the story today is there's going to be a bunch of people picketing because they don't want to come back to work, union folks, for this 50% of the time. The governor, I believe they need to go back. I didn't know they weren't back. So people on my side are like, only 50%? So they're ticked off. Get them back to work. The other side's like, I don't want to go back 50%. Everybody got mad at the governor. I'm saying either you ignored it because guys like me didn't pay attention and you just kept doing it, or if he's deciding you should have went 100% because people are mad going back to work and still be mad. But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What are they thinking about having a protest about going back to work 50% of the time to the office? Yeah. I don't think the average duck is feeling your pain. Am I wrong?
I think the way it happened is one of the reasons for the contentiousness. I mean, that the timeline was short. And I think that a lot of them felt like, 2 months might sound like a lot of time for us, but when's the last time we had small children? So now you got to make all sorts of arrangements in 2 months. That's hard. I think there are a lot of people who are, really good at this job, but maybe they live in a rural area and now they're going to have to change that. Or might be people with disabilities. There might be all sorts of reasons why they probably were choosing to do a work from home position. And then the ramped up timeline is making it sort of unmanageable for some people. But
But this is the perception, right? The average duck's like, I go to work every day. Not me, but average people,
Yeah, I mean, right. Like, I've only ever had jobs where I've had to work. I mean, I had to online teach during COVID, but that was about it. So, I get
Heather, Senator, we're so tight. Senator Gustafson, I thank you so very much for taking the time to be here. I appreciate you. Go get both those bills passed for me, will you?
I will. All
right. Yeah, you're fundamentally going to change Minnesota, and I appreciate you for it. Senator Heather Gustafson on the Al Travis Show.